Welcome to the City of Austin's Development Services Department Applicant Training for Electronic Plan Review, otherwise known as ePlan. We're going to cover a real brief, few-minute presentation here, covering the basics of where the program started, where we are now, where we're going, kind of a 30,000-foot view, and then we'll jump right into a live demo of the application itself. So this is the state-of-the-art of plan review here in the City of Austin as of today. Not quite your 21st century electronic plan review, but lots and lots of paper. So this is what we aim to replace. So moving on to the actual plan project. Here in the city, we've got a lot of partner departments that are involved with ePlan review. Many departments have a hand in some kind of a plan review process, depending on what type of application it is, whether it's a commercial building, a residential building, whether it's a site plan, a subdivision, whatever it is, there are many players on the ePlan project. You can see some of them listed here. We have all the utilities, our Health and Human Services, obviously the Law Department. We also have our friends down at the county, Travis, Hayes, Williamson County, as well as our partners down at the Texas Department of Transportation. So what the ePlan project is and what it encompasses. So what it really is it describes electronic review of your plans. But more importantly than that, it's part of an overall larger project called Austin Build and Connect. Now the ePlan review project in and of itself, all it really allows us to do is to do electronic upload of your plans, your documents, your drawings, electronic review of those documents, electronic approval, and then downloading those once they're approved. That's really all the ePlan project really encompasses. But as a larger project, the overall Austin Build and Connect encompasses online applications, online payments, the ePlan process, permitting, and of course inspections, and then eventual corrections or revisions if needed, and then eventual certificate of occupancy or final approved permit as the case may be. So that's kind of a 30,000-foot view. We're not quite there yet with all of those moving parts. Some of them we've got in certain stages of development, and we will roll more and more of those out as we go. Right now we have a very small handful of applications that are available online, those that typically do not require a plan review of some sort. Basically, those are applications where you fill out some information online, you pay online, you download your permit, and then you go to work. Typically, that involves something like a change out for mechanical or plumbing or driveway signs, basically things that don't require any kind of a plan review process. And of course, we'll be expanding that as a natural evolution to provide online applications for building plan review and for site plans, subdivisions, zoning cases, those sorts of things. We're not there yet, but we are getting there. And of course, also the online payments for all those different application types. So that's what the two projects encompass. The Austin Build and Connect is the complete end-to-end solution, which is still in development, and then the ePlan review process, which is currently live and in production. So we selected an application called Project Docs. It's a browser-based application, which is really nice. So there's no software to load or purchase for you, the applicants. But what it does provide for us is the electronic upload of those documents. It allows the reviewers to do the electronic plan review and markup of those documents, and the drawings as well. It provides us the ability to do electronic approval. Now, one of the reasons why we selected this application is that it is used in over 140 jurisdictions across North America. It is the #1 plan review and workflow management tool available in the marketplace today. And some of the really nice benefits is that it provides 24/7 access to the database, so you can upload drawings, at 10 o'clock on a Friday night if you choose. More importantly for us here in the city, it provides file management and version control, which is really important. So this is a really high-level overview of what the plan review process is and what it encompasses. Typically, application will be submitted today unfortunately. We're still taking paper applications, so you fill out a paper application, fillable PDFs online. In some of those cases, you can email those in. In some cases, you still have to bring them in and make a payment. Eventually, of course, those will all be electronic applications online through the Austin Building Connect portal. But as I said before, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there very quickly. So however the application comes in, if it's a building plan, commercial or residential, it'll go through what's called a prerequisite review cycle. And those are our partner departments, typically the utilities, the health department, the legal department, the fire department, basically everybody that's outside of the development services department, because they're not obligated by any state law or city ordinance to meet any kind of a specified turnaround time for the reviews, unlike us here in this department. So what they've agreed to is a 20 business day turnaround on all of their reviews. So if it is a building, then it goes through a prerequisite review cycle, and then it comes to us in the development services department in the formal review, and that would include mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or environmental. Maybe it's an internal transportation issue, something like that. And then it would come to our department, and then we'd all review that, and that would get stamped, and then you download it. If it's a land use type case, site plan, subdivision, zoning, development assessment, something like that, by state law, we're mandated for a 45-day completeness check cycle. So obviously it wouldn't go through the prerequisite. It would enter in after application, that completeness check. So it would go through as many cycles as it takes to get approved, and once it's done, then it moves into formal, and that would come to us for drainage engineering or in some kind of an environmental review, whatever is applicable to a land use type project. And again, it can go through as many cycles as it needs to get approved, and then once they are approved, whether it's a building or a site plan, the plans would be electronically stamped. The vector PDFs that you upload to us would then be flattened with an approved seal on them. And then you can download them and then go ahead and print them and then go to work. And then once you get your plans back, you can print them, download them. And then for today, you'd still have to come in and pick up your permit. And then we'd call in the inspections, and the inspections would happen. Eventually, our inspectors will be out there with tablets. And then they can do their inspections online, issue any kind of a change orders if necessary for corrections and revisions, or just issue the certificate of occupancy right there on the spot. But again, that's still in development, so we are getting there. So here's the deployment targets. We went live with general permits, which is our first application type, in May of 2015. And then for banks and basically all commercial and residential, we went live with those in the summer of 2016. The Development Assistance Center for site plan corrections, revisions, and for Board of Adjustments, those went live in the fall. And we're anticipating site plan, subdivision, and zoning to be completed by the winter of the 2016. Right there is what the City of Austin approved seal is going to look like, and it has a date field on there. So all your plans, like I said, will be flattened as a PDF with the seal burned into them. You can download them, go ahead and print them out so that your foreman has them at the construction site. So our inspectors will verify that you're actually building from the approved plan set. My contact information for my team, ePlan support at austintexas.gov if you have any questions. A copy of this presentation is available, as well as all the other resources like the frequently asked questions, the applicant handbook, the applicant getting started guide, the National CAD standard naming conventions for your file names, as well as any optional layers that are used. That's all on our website, austintexas.gov/ePlan. So let's go ahead and jump right into a demo. We'll go ahead and close this down, and then we'll start our demo. So this is what the ePlan project looks like. Right now it uses Internet Explorer as the default browser. And it uses a couple of different plugins, which you can download right here. They're very small plugins for ActiveX and Silverlight. If you're going to actually review any of the drawings within Project Docs, you do need to install the Project Docs plugins for ActiveX and Silverlight. If you're not going to be viewing any of the drawings, you can use any browser that you like. But you will not be able to see any of the drawings. If you use Chrome, Firefox, Safari, you can do all of the workflow stuff, which I'll describe here in a minute, using any browser that you like. But to actually view the drawings and some of the markups, you will need to use Internet Explorer 9 or above. So what I'm going to go through here in the demo is our test site. So this is our ePlan test site. So I'm going to log in as an applicant. And this is what it looks like. Go ahead and maximize the screen. So this is the home page when you first log in. So I've logged in as an applicant. So you've got your active projects up here at the top, and then you have your task list down here at the bottom, and I'll kind of describe kind of what those are. But since this is a browser-based application, you've got your standard forward and back buttons. Projects button takes you back here to this home page. The profile button here up here at the top is basically your information. Name, address, email, all that kind of good stuff. So you have all your standard navigation functions. You've got your search button up here, and then you've got an active help button up here at the top, which is a basic Windows application for help. It's got your typical contents, your search button, your index, all that kind of good stuff. And then down here at the bottom, you've got your task list. Now this is basically what you're going to see every time that you log in. This is essentially what you need to do when you actually log in. So you've got your tasks down here at the bottom. So applicant upload or applicant resubmit, that's typically what you'll see. You've got another prerequisite review for, this is another project. So there's different phases like I mentioned earlier. So you've got the two project names up here, and then the description typically will be your street address or your project name typically will be your case number. Web users typically going to be us, the city's portal which created the project, and then a bunch of different statuses, and then the creation dates. So two ways to access your project. You can either click the project name up here under project, or you can click the project name down here, or you can click the task. Now to jump right into a project, let's start with applicant upload, which is how you initially see a project. So you'll see a couple of folders up here at the top at the beginning, and then your basic information about the project here itself. You can click your task list to bring up all your tasks, and then you'll have your applicant upload, which is going to be your initial task. And then your submitted drawings is where you actually upload all of your new drawings. And then submitted documents is where you'll put like your engineer's report, any kind of certified letters, any legal documents, either Word docs or PDFs, whatever it is. So let's take a look and see what the drawings folder looks like. So when you do accept your task, this is what your folder is going to look like right now. It's got some stuff in it already. I loaded for the purposes of this training. So when you click on your task, either from here or from your task list on your home page, it takes a while to render. So this is your task list. This is called an e-form. So whoever your applicant is will get an initial invitation. After we get your application, we'll fill it out in our database and complete that. And then the applicant, whoever's email address is on the application, will get this invitation. Here is your temporary password and the link to your new project. Click this link, log in using this temporary password and your email address. And then you can go through your accepting your task and all that kind of good stuff. So whoever is the applicant of record will get this invitation, and then they can log in, they'll have access to this project. So obviously you guys have more than one person on your project team, so what you're going to want to do is invite them. You type in their first name, last name, and their email address, and click invite, and they will get an invitation just like everybody else did. here's the access link to this project. Here's your temporary email address. Log in, it'll ask you to create your permanent credentials, all that kind of good stuff. And then they have access to the project. Now, whoever your initial applicant is might not be the project manager or the case coordinator that's responsible for accepting and distributing the tasks. So you can reassign this particular task to whoever that is. You can assign it back to the group, or you can pick an individual person and give them the ownership of this particular task. And the really important part is that whoever your project manager is takes ownership of this task, because they have to decide when everyone is done uploading all of their pieces so they can click the Upload Complete button. In the meantime, I can click Save and Close, which means I'm going to come back later and finish this at another time. So what happens is I come in here and I click the Upload Files button, and it brings up another window so that I can just browse for files. I can upload a zip file, or I can upload individual files. Let's say I want to upload this one, or a couple of files. I just click the Upload Files button and it's there. Now, one of the things that we're asking is that you use the standard CAD naming conventions for all of your file naming conventions. So, it would A for architectural, the first letter would start with E for electrical, M for mechanical, P for plumbing, and so on. So using the National CAD Standard Naming Conventions, if you have a very large submittal, it's easier for the reviewers to be able to find stuff. So we can do all kinds of different sorts, first to last, last to first, the date it was uploaded, all that kind of good stuff. So it's easier for the reviewers to find the information that they really need. So let's say I've completed my upload, and I've invited everyone who needs access to the project. They've uploaded all of their pieces. So then I come back in and I can re-accept my task. I want to make sure that everybody on the team has completed uploading all of their documents. Because once I click this Upload Complete button, then your upload task goes away. And you don't want us to have to send you back through another cycle just because you forgot to upload something. So then you can go to View Folders if you have other documents that you want to upload, like your engineer's reports or whatever, you can upload them here as well. You have other folders that will become available to you later on down the project. So that's what the applicant upload part looks like. So we can go back to our project's homepage, and then we can look at what an update looks like. Now we can do that from down here. We can accept our update task. And the reason that this one is in pink is because it's late. So this was due a couple of months ago. So by virtue of the date, it turns pink to indicate that it's late. And all these columns are sortable. So the columns up at the top, columns down here at the bottom, they're all sortable. I just click on the column header name, and then it just reorganizes them. So let's say I can go ahead and re-accept this task here for the update. And again, same applies. If I need to, I can go ahead and invite more people to the group. But typically what would happen is I'd get an email that says, hey, I have all of my plans have been reviewed and updates have been requested. So I'd come in here and I'd log back in and I'd look at what's been done to my project. So I can see here that there are some markups that have been done on this particular file. So what I want to do is I'd go back and look at the change mark report. So I have to actually bring that up in another file. Hang on. I forgot to upload that one. So here we go. So everything that comes out is a PDF. So once the comments have been requested, close that. So this is what it looks like. So everything comes in as a PDF, so you can see which group did the review, what their status was, either no review required, rejected, or approved, who did it, what their email address is, and whatever their review comment was. You also have the ability to look at a thumbnail sketch of the particular drawing. And you're going to see a lot of different kinds of change marks that pop up. In this particular case, there's a balloon or around some part of the subdivision that says, and the comment for the residential zoning was that the plat doesn't confirm the standards. And you can see there's a little sticky note down there which contains that little note. There's arrows, there's highlights, there's just standalone sticky notes. So there's all kinds of different comments that can be made and put on your change mark report. And then at the very bottom, if there's any canned comments or checklist items that the reviewers have put on there, then that's where they'll be down here at the bottom, and they'll be in the status of met or not met. And then there's a canned comment right there. So that's downloadable, and that'll be in your combined comment reports folder. So what you do is after you've downloaded that and you've made your changes, then you come back here to your submitted drawings folder, you click on the upload files button again, and then you'd come in and then you just upload some new files, whatever versions that you're going to be doing. So let's just select all of these, and you can upload a zip file. You can do a select and then upload. You can do a drag and drop. You can do, whatever you want. But you really only need to upload the ones that are changed, and that's what you're seeing here. Is that of the 4 files I selected, 3 of them are brand new, and 1 of them has been used before. So the system recognizes the file name has been used before, and that there is potentially a new version that's going to be created. Now, none of your originals get overwritten and none of your stuff gets deleted. It's all still there in the system. And that's really important because that's how we do our compares and our version controls. So all of the drawings are now going to get uploaded. And then I come down here, and in this particular case, here's a version right there. So this is a V2. So as a reviewer, all I'm going to do in cycle 2 is look for stuff that has a V2 on it. So that means that something has been changed. So that's all I need to do is to look at that. So I can click the history button, and I can see that there's 2 different versions. And I can go to compare mode, and I can select both versions. And just by eyeballing the thumbnails here, I can tell that there's some pretty significant differences. So I'll just click the compare button. And as a reviewer, this is really handy because all I want to do is look at the thing that have changed. So you don't need to upload stuff that you haven't changed. And we're not going to look at stuff you haven't changed. All we're going to look for is the V2 or V3 or whatever it is. And then all we're going to do is look at those, the new drawings. So I can maximize this one real quick. And you can see the one here on the left is version 1, the one here on the right is version 2. Now in reality, these are 2 different floors of the same building. But for demonstration purposes, it makes it really nice when I do an overlay and compare to see what's changed. Now as a reviewer, I'm going to bring these up and see what's different about them. Now I'm using my nudge key right now to get the drawings to line up, since these are actual 2 different floors of the same building. They didn't quite print out exactly on their drawing, so they're a little bit off. So I can nudge them together to get more of the stuff to turn gray. But what I can see at a glance here is that the stuff that's in red was deleted from version 2, and the stuff that's in green has been added to version 2, and then everything that's in gray is the same for both versions. So I can also use my tools here to zoom in and look at say this area up here. Okay, so I can look at the boardroom, and the tables are in the same place. They're a little off here on this one, but the credenza and the chairs and everything in there is still the same. The bathrooms are still pretty much the same. They're skewed a little bit, but just looking at them, I can tell that, you know, they're pretty much the same thing. As I said earlier, in reality, these are two different floors of the same building. They weren't printed in exactly the same layout, so it's a little bit off. But, you know, generally speaking, if it was this much of a change, it would probably be a lot better to look at most of the gray stuff. So I can look at just the changes that are made, the additions, or I can look at the subtractions, or I can look at everything that's unchanged just by clicking the buttons down here at the bottom. Now, as a reviewer, this makes it really nice, so I can just zoom into the areas that are different. So after I've done uploading looked at my change mark report, made the corrections, uploaded all of my changes, then I go back to my task list, which I can click here from the task list button. It reopens my eForm. And on this eForm, it shows me essentially another summary of what was on the change mark report. It shows me that the reviewer's department, their name, email address, and the status of their particular review. And then I have to click, you know, as a reviewer, as a applicant, you know, click the check boxes that I've met the conditions and I've addressed the items in the change marks and have uploaded new drawings. And then I click the complete button. Now, once I do that, the cycle's over, it goes back to review, and my upload files button goes away. So it's really important that your project manager maintains control over this task. And like I said, if somebody goes on vacation or they're going out of town or, you know, they're calling sick, it can always be reassigned back to somebody else in the group. Now, there's a couple other things here I'll point out real quick before we wrap up. Up here at the top on your resources tab, you've got all these different hot links to various websites that the city provides basic information for you. The Austin Build and Connect homepage, addressing, ATD, AFD, Austin Water, Austin Energy, all these different hot links are there in case you need information about the project. There are also some reports that you can run as applicants, and one of them is the routing slip. Right now, there's nothing in there, it's blank. But you can run the routing slip report and the department status report. And that'll give you a real quick snapshot of where your project is at any given time. Which reviews are complete, which ones are still outstanding. So once all that's completed, then I just click the completed button and it goes back to the city for reviewing in the next cycle. And if there happen to be fees due, then I would get an email as an applicant, again, the applicant of record, to say to go back in and pay any update fees or any subsequent review cycle fees that might be due. So let me recap here real quick before we wrap up. We are asking all of our applicants to submit your drawings in single sheet, vector-based PDFs using the National CAD Standard Naming Convention. All of your documentation can be PDFs or Word docs, and your Word docs obviously could be multi-page, it doesn't really matter. All of the frequently asked questions are available along with other resources like the Applicant Getting Started Guide, the Applicant Handbook, the FAQs, the quick reference cards, all that's available at austintexas.gov/ePlan. And if you need to get hold of us, you can email my team at ePlansupport@austintexas.gov. And that concludes our presentation. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know it was really fast, real high level information, but like I said, all this information is available on our website if you need additional help.